Hi everybody, welcome to Revitalise Meets, where I get the opportunity to meet key influencers, business leaders and business entrepreneurs from across the globe in this business community that we're all in right now. Today I've got the great pleasure to be with a gentleman who's got over 3 years experience in running his own business, but a wealth of experience and knowledge from the oil and gas and motor industry. Can you please welcome with me today the one, yes, but the only Mr. Campbell of the Alternative Board. Campbell, how are you?
I'm very well. That was a very nice introduction. I'm very well, thank you very much. I'm looking forward to having a good wee chat with you.
Well, it's been a long time since I've had a good wee chat, I tell you. The last time was a rainy afternoon or a rainy lunchtime in Glasgow. I remember that day extremely well. Campbell, would you mind sharing with everybody who's watching today and listening today on the podcast a little bit about your business journey to date?
Gosh. I'll try and keep this short and sweet for you. I studied, I went to school, I became an engineer. I'm an engineer by birth, if you like. I moved from Glasgow and I worked down in the Midlands for, 10, 12 years in the car industry. And I have to say, loved it to bits. I really enjoyed the work that I did down there. And then what happened as the years went on, sort of moved more out of engineering into operations, into managing people. And then I moved into consulting, then back into operations and back into managing people across a number of different industries. So as you said, a bit in construction, a bit in oil and gas, and quite a lot in automotive, and then consultancy after that. However, what I was finding, so maybe 20 odd years, my goodness, I'm feeling old talking already. Maybe after 20 odd years of doing this, I kind of realized, is this it for me? You know, am I happy with the career path that I've chosen? Does it feel right? And I spent a lot of time, as we used to do in those days, in pubs, having conversations with people, enjoying a little drink. And quite a few friends had their own businesses. And they said, Campbell, you should try it. You should give it a shot. I think you're made up for it. I think you'd like it. So I thought about it and I thought about it again. And then I thought, I tell you what, I've got 20 years done. I've got another 20 years to go. Why don't we have a look into it? So I actually spent a little bit of time looking for a business to buy, to acquire, with a little bit of help from, say, private equity houses or banks to give me loans, etc. But I must have looked around, about 40 or 50 businesses in the central belt of Scotland. Businesses that I had been involved with, or I knew, operational, manufacturing, engineering, etc. And I have to say, I got a little bit of a fright. It really dawned on me that running your own business is quite tough. You've got to do everything yourself, whether that's making the coffee cups or whatever it is that you make, whatever your business is, but also the website, or managing the people that are coming in, or recruiting new ones, or dealing with that person that won't pay, or et cetera, et cetera. And I realized that the business owner, the person that runs the business, has got a tough gig, got a tough job. So I spent a lot of time, like I say, looking around for a business to acquire. And I actually came to the conclusion, these guys, the people I'm meeting, the girls and guys I'm meeting, are good people. They're clever people. They're not always getting the most out of their business, and the businesses could get better. There's no doubt about that. But am I any better than them? Can I come in and do a fantastic job, buy the business off them and make it super successful? And don't get me wrong, there was a bit of me that said, yes, I could. And then there was a little bit of me thinking, well, that's quite brave to move out of the corporate world, if you like, and buy a random business from somebody and turn it into a glorious success. That feels a little bit like throwing all your eggs into one basket. So I remember about that time, the Alternative Board came along, and I've honestly got no idea if it found me or I found it, but I just really liked the concept. It was all about helping business owners. It was all about giving them as much support as they needed. It was called the board that I can afford, was the kind of catchphrase that was used, because it was aimed at smaller businesses, so businesses that didn't quite have a board yet, if you like. So I really like the concept about helping business owners. I looked into it, I went to a few. It's a franchise opportunity, and being honest, I never thought I would have bought a franchise, but I'm really glad in hindsight that I did. The support network, the community is huge. There's about 40 of me in the UK, and there's maybe about 500 worldwide. It started in the States, in Denver, Colorado, about 30 years ago. So there's a lot of experience. There's a lot of people that have run businesses, and there's maybe 7,000 or 8,000 businesses that are members, if you like, of the Alternative Board. So I really welcome that support and that understanding of how businesses run and how to best help them. So that's the decision was made, if you like, for me. Put my hand in my pocket. I bought the franchise, and that was about 3 years ago, and here I am now.
Absolutely superb. And I think over that time that you've been involved, in the times that I've known you for as well, you've helped many business owners. But the Alternative Board, one of your biggest achievement successes that you mentioned to me prior to today was that they're doing better now outside of lockdown, or in lockdown itself, over this time of what's been going on over the last sort of plus 12 months now. You've got over 15 members, businesses are starting to be better. How has that happened? What's been put into place? What made the difference for them and for you helping them?
It's a really good question, and I don't think there's one answer. So I think the members that I've got are across various spectrums. Some are in high growth areas, some are in health, some are in digital, some are in telecoms, and some are not. There's two of my members in hospitality, and they've had a really, really tough 12 months or 11 months. So I think it comes down to a lot of things. The personality of the person, the owner, if you like, is really key, and why they choose to be part of the Alternative Board, why they choose to engage with other people. They're looking to do better. They're looking to get as much support as they can. They're looking to listen for what ideas are out there and what they could actually do with them. And the other thing that I think that they get from the Alternative Board is just a little bit of confidence. If I'm sat in a room and I've got an idea that I've maybe been dwelling on for a while, I'll maybe open a new site in Manchester or something. I'm not sure, maybe yes, maybe no. If I bounce it around the table and everyone goes, oh, it's a great idea, fantastic, you'll make a fortune, then I've got more chance of going for it. If everyone around the table goes, Campbell, what are you thinking? Don't go to Manchester, go to London, or don't bother, go to Edinburgh or just do a better job in Glasgow, then it helps you kind of make the decisions. And that's what I find is with a little bit of confidence and a little bit more conversation, people make their decisions better and quicker. So I think there's a little bit of that. There's a little bit of the individuals themselves, and there's a little bit of just hard work. My background is about helping businesses, about growing businesses, and I spend, it's in my guts, if you like. I really want to help my members. The last thing I want to see is them not doing well or them struggling. So am I saying that Campbell Ure is the saviour for all? No, not at all. But it's good fun, and I enjoy working with my members and helping them the best I can.
I think it's when you touched on before from the previous experience you've got is that business transformation, that consultant area of it as well, and having that assistance and feedback. Feedback is golden for any business owner if they're willing to ask the right questions, but most importantly, act and responsibly put actions into place from the responses that they're having and that feedback that they're getting as well. It's always great to adapt to that. Taking that in consideration, especially, that's a great achievement to have in what you've been doing, especially in these times of working on the virtual space that we're working on now. Have you had to diversify your business delivery in any way, shape or form? And how has that changed for you in the last 12 months?
Done a few things, actually. As you'll know, before COVID, the Alternative Board was in a boardroom, or I was in somebody's meeting office. We'd get some food in, we'd have a bit of a laugh, a couple of drinks and all the rest of it, and it'd be a really nice, engaging event. But since COVID, it's all been virtual. So we have Zoom board meetings. And being honest, I was scared stiff to begin with. I was thinking, is this going to work? Are they not going to, get bored with this? It's a 4-hour meeting, a normal board meeting. But it's really been beneficial. It actually works in lots of ways. And I think we've all found goods and bads of using Zoom and being at home. But I think overall, I can see long-term that working. I think some of the other things that have happened actually over the last year, and fair play to them, the Alternative Board have really stepped up. The Alternative Board kind of US, if you like, worldwide. So there's a really big virtual network now where we all help each other out. I've got a question about, I don't know anything. What do we need to do about this? Or one of my customers is struggling with the latest Brexit regulations. Then we'll stick it out and we'll get some answers back. So it's a really nice way. Everything we do is confidential. We all sign NDAs at the beginning. So it's a very tight, trusted network. And I really like the fact that that's grown. Before COVID, of course, I knew there was lots of other boards and lots of other business owners out there, but I didn't have the same sort of engagement as we do now. So that's been good, not just having Glasgow boards, but mixing it up and having boards, around the UK and around the world actually as well. So yeah, I think a lot of that will definitely stay, and that's all to the benefit of the members.
It's a wealth of knowledge, but you've also got that support network, like you mentioned. I mean, support is
exactly.
It's bucketfuls of golden nuggets of information that can be passed on to you quite regularly. But there's one thing you touched on briefly into that as well. You've got the hands-on tools. You talked about that as a unique selling point. You just touched on it there briefly as well. But the TAB, or the Alternative Board HQ, has developed that over a span of 30 years. Is that right? So what does that look like in regards to somebody getting involved with the Alternative Board? How can they get tapped into that resource?
Oh, that's a good question. There's a journey that people go on when they're in the Alternative Board, and it's about them understanding where they want to go, them understanding where they want their business to go, me understanding that, and the board and other people within the Alternative Board understanding that. And when you have that, we can all help each other and things move a lot quicker. So what I tend to do with new members is understand where is it they want to be. I remember when I was looking for a business those years ago, I met a lot of people that they'd set up businesses and the passion for it had gone. They used to love doing this and that, they got so much passion in it, but now they're not doing what they loved. They're too busy having a customer complain, or they're too busy dealing with an invoice that's not being paid, etc., etc. So their love for the business had fallen out. And, we start businesses because we want to get something out of it, not the business rules us. So understanding what people really want to get from their lives and want to get from their businesses is really important. And we find that the business plan can back off, can come from what somebody wants to get, whether it's I actually really like getting my hands dirty, I want to deal in the equipment, I want to manage every person, that's what I want to do, that's what I get my passion for, or no, I don't want to do that at all. I just want to, go forward and expand more and buy more sites or more businesses, etc. Understanding that's important. And then beyond that, what we do is it's nothing fancy, to be honest. It sounds really straightforward, but it's just putting a business plan and how are you actually going to make it happen? What are you actually going to do? I've worked in some businesses in the past, massive amounts of money spent on CRM systems or spent on operating software, etc., etc. What this is nice and simple. Things that any business owner can have. Where do they want to take their business? What are the key actions that they want to do it? How are they affecting their customers? Are there any sort of USPs, if you like, that they as a business offer or they need to develop to help take their business forward and to help get more customers? How are they engaging with their customers? And then what are their values for the owner and for the business to make sure that the customers engage, but also the employees get it and they understand, they're happy working in the business of that. So it's a suite of maybe about 10 or 11, I would call them tools that sit within some software that's been developed and keeps getting developed, which is nice to see. I think in the 3 years, the only 3 years that I've been in the Alternative Board, I've seen a lot of changes to that. So yeah, here's to more of it in the future.
I think it's when you look at it, it's great when you hear that. It's like that's how it's going to happen, when and where it's going to happen. It's that how, when, and where. But also a lot of businesses might not look at and I feel I want to say this, but that simplified process. Some people, they forget about the processes they've got in place. They get an idea, they go for it, and they go to do it, but they don't look at the process that has to get them from A to B, in other words, how that's going to work. So thanks for sharing that for me. That actually leads in quite nicely to, for anybody out there who's watching and listening today, who is a budding entrepreneur, who started their own business up, what would be your top tips for where they are in starting their business right now? what would you advise to somebody?
So I realized very quickly when I started the alternative board that I had no network. So I'd spent all my time, that's unfair, no network of Glasgow business owners. I'd spent all my time in England or in Germany or Aberdeen or Edinburgh. And although I'm born and bred and grew up in Glasgow, I didn't really have much of a network. So I think growing your network, understanding the people that you can engage with, the people you want to engage with, growing the relationships that you have with people, and being able to offer them some support as well as take some support back. I think that's a really important thing when setting up a business. And it took me maybe a year or so to realize that and make that happen effectively, I think. So that's one thing that I definitely say to any new start.
And number two?
Number two, I think once you have customers, assuming you've now got some customers, really caring for them, really understanding for them, and doing the absolute best by them. I was always of a mindset, I'm worth X amount and I can give, that's how much time I'll give to the customers, and then I need to go and find more customers. It doesn't really work like that. I think it's important that the first customers you have think you're brilliant, you think they're brilliant, and you have a really good relationship, because when you get it right and you get feedback from them in terms of what they're doing well and what you're not doing so well, that trust grows. And when you've got good trust, you'll get good feedback that helps you improve your business going forward. So totally would recommend that.
And would you maybe add in a third one to the mix? Would you put a third top tip in there from yourself?
For a new person starting
up.
I think in the current climate, I would certainly, COVID's obviously changed us all, and there's a huge growth in things like e-commerce and in use of online tools. So getting closer to that and understanding how can you use your business better using the online community, if you like, that we have, and not being shy. I think a lot of us in the past, I've got a business in Glasgow, I can only do a business in Glasgow. Nowadays, there's businesses that are, they're small businesses that are working hugely globally. I used to have a virtual admin assistant from Edinburgh. I now use a virtual admin agency in the Philippines, and it's just as good. It's fantastic. The world is getting smaller, and you can make advantage of that.
I think that's one of the big things. A great point on that as well, because the geographies that we're working right now have completely expanded out. I mean, I had a conversation with somebody in Philadelphia just the other week, which is great. I've been chatting to somebody in West Yorkshire, from Philadelphia to West Yorkshire, but then speaking to somebody in Dorset. So you're right, you've got all these different avenues now open. And I think that's a really good point, is to embrace the online technology and how that's moving forward, to how that can work in your business, is a great point to put in there. Thanks for that, Campbell. With everything that you've talked about from the successes, from starting your business, what's next for you? What's in store for 2021 for yourself? What's in the next 12 months, Campbell? What's going to make the difference to you next?
So the next 12 months are going to be an interesting 12 months for me. Last year was a year where worked really hard. I would hope all my customers would say, you did a good job, thank you very much, Campbell, and I've grown the relationships more. What I'm looking to do further is, I realise in times like these, giving business owner support is really good. It's an important thing to do. So I want to give more business owner support, and I want to grow the business. So at the moment, the running of the board and the facilitating of the board and the working with the members is pretty much me. I've got some support. Like I said, I've got virtual admin and I've got marketing and sales resource, but actually the core of the business, the helping business owners and really taking that forward. I want to grow that. So I'm looking to, I brought on some sales and marketing resource. I'm looking to create an engine, for want of a better word, to reach out to business owners. And what I'm also looking to do is have a number of what I would call contract facilitators that help run the boards with me. So that's a big challenge for 2021, setting that up so it becomes more of a business and less of me, the individual, being the alternative board in Glasgow.
If there's anybody out there now that could help you, what could help you facilitate those changes easier this year? Would you be able to mention anybody that would be a certain industry or certain criteria that you're looking for?
It's a good question. I think I'm okay with industry. I think anybody that's just got some experience, they've either started up businesses, they've run businesses, people that know what they're talking about, for want of a better word, and they've got some really good experience. And most importantly, they're prepared to share that with others, and they want to help others. We all know individuals that are really keen and they always want to help, and we also know individuals that are less keen to help. So I'm looking for the ones that are more keen, and that they get something out of seeing other people do well.
Superb. And how can anybody get in touch from watching and listening to us today and hearing about all the information that you provided? How can they make contact with you, Campbell? What's the best course of action to get in touch with you?
God, well, the thing is, there's so many ways these days, isn't there? I don't mind whichever people choose. I think LinkedIn's always good for me. So if you're not connected to me on LinkedIn, just say that you've seen this, say that you know Lee, and I'm more than happy to connect up with you and have a conversation.
Absolutely superb. Well, I wish you all the very best for your future endeavours. No doubt you're just going to knock it through the park over the next 12 months, and all those wishes are going to come to realisation over the next 12 months for you, Campbell. So thank you very much. And again, I wish you all the very best for the next 12 months.
Thank you. Much appreciated. All the best to you too.
Thank you very much. I would highly recommend that if you've liked what you've heard today and you want to get in touch with Campbell, pick up the phone, type it into LinkedIn, make the connection, start the conversation, because you never know what opportunity is just around the corner. So make the opportunity to connect with Campbell and find out more. Thanks very much, everybody who's been watching and listening today to Revitalise Meet, and we look forward to welcoming you back to the next episode, which I get the chance to meet business entrepreneurs, business leaders, and key influencers from across the global business community. Thanks again, Campbell. Thanks again to everybody.
Cheers.
Stay healthy, stay safe, and remember, as always, keep connecting. Take care. Bye-bye for now.